Welcome back. All right, so long recap upcoming here. 12 games, starting with the 3 o'clock Pacific start and working our way through to the 7 o'clock Pacific starts. Thankfully, no 7:30s, but there was a shootout tonight because, of course, and it's a West Coast because Seattle's West Coast. All right, so we're going to start things off talking about the Minnesota Wild and the Florida Panthers. Minnesota's having some issues. Florida is not. Florida's doing quite well for themselves. So it's Gustafson and I mean, just Florida's been really picking it up lately. So Gustafson versus Lyon in this one. Keep in mind, Bobrovsky and Knight are both not available for this one. Early rushes by both teams. Eriksson scores, but there was a penalty to the Wild on the play, so that goal does not count. Shorthanded 2-on-1's broken up. That's killed off. The Wild press at 6 minutes. The shots are 6-2 for Minnesota at 7 minutes. Strong defense and transition by the Wild, but they're not getting goals. Pressed by the Panthers with 8 minutes left. There's a near miss for Kaprizov on a rush. Things get pushy after a hold by Gustafson. Boldy's denied and close. Lyon was just really good in that first period. Lomberg, Kent-Barry won the Wild rush. And then at 19:47 on a turnover, and it just trickles in, Lundell scores from Barkov and Reinhart. So at the end of the first period, it's 1-0 Florida. Second period, there's an early press by the Wild. However, it's a turnover, and it's in the net. Luostarinen scores at 1:40, makes it 2-0 in favor of Florida. Montour fires one wide, the Wild rush. Ekblad, at this point, had been out since the first period, did not return to the game. So Aaron Ekblad, who does get injured regularly, appears to have gotten hurt in this game, and so we'll see how long he's going to be out this time around. Shots are 3-1 for Florida at 7 minutes. Dewar has a tip shot that's saved. The Wild press draws them a power play, and they score on it as Boldy from Eriksson and Kaprizov at 8:56. Montour then has a rush chance that's held. The Wild press with 7.5 minutes left. Greenway's denied from the slot. Mark Stahl has a shot saved as the Panthers press with 1:53 left. The Panthers get a power play, and they score on it. It doesn't take long either. I was thinking 1:53 and then 32, but it is 19:32, so it takes about a minute. Verhaeghe scores from Montour. So, big one there. And then in order to try to fire up the Minnesota Wild, Hartman gets into a fight with Cousins before the period's out. But yeah, after 2 periods, it's 3-1. Third period, near miss for Steele on a rush. The Wild get a power play, and they score on it. At 4:37, it is Eriksson from Kaprizov and Addison. Panthers press at 6.5 minutes. Eventually, they get that one back. It's Forsling from Denisenko and Cousins at 7:51. Halfway through the period, the shots are 6-5 for Minnesota. Goalie pull happens with 2:25 left. Eriksson has a wraparound that's saved, and then Minnesota scores 6-on-5. It's Spurgeon from Boldy and Eriksson at 18:34, so that makes it 4-3. However, they pull the goaltender again. That allows the empty net goal to take place. It's Reinhart from Lundell and Mark Stahl at 19:20. Your final score is 5-3 for Florida. They go to 23-20-5 with the win. On the Minnesota side, they're 25-16-4 with the loss. Shots in this one, 9-6 Minnesota in the first, 13-10 Florida in the second, 13-8 Minnesota in the third. They outshoot Florida 32-27. Power plays, Minnesota 2 for 2, Florida 1 for 2, so penalty killing was optional. Hits 27-24 for Florida. Gustafson saves 22 out of 26. Lyon saves 29 out of 32. So, yeah, pretty entertaining game to start things off for the evening games. Next up, Philadelphia in against Detroit. Detroit controlled large swaths of this game. Not that the score would necessarily tell you that. So it's Hart versus Husso. The shots are 2-0 for Detroit at 2.5 minutes. The Wings would press at 7 minutes. Sider has a shot that deflects wide. The Flyers press. They're kept to the outside. D'Angelo was denied. Van Riemsdyk had a shot after that. That was held. Then there's a post for Larkin. The Flyers clear it out. We get a power play for the Wings. The Flyers don't let them set up early. There's a near miss by Sider. The power play's killed off. So it's scoreless after 1. Second period, Sherratt breaks up a 3-on-2. The shots are 6-0 for the Wings at 4.5 minutes. There's a good back and forth at 8.5 minutes. The Flyers are starting to take control. Frost has a tip shot that's held. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Soon after, we get a power play for the Philadelphia Flyers. Tippett has a shot that's blocked. Konechny's is held. Things get pushy with that hold, but they eventually kill off that power play as well. Flyers press with 1.5 minutes left with 12 seconds left. The Wings get a power play, and at the horn, we get more punching. So we start the third period still scoreless. Solid penalty kill by the Flyers. Raymond has a chance that's saved. Flyers clear it out. That's killed off. Kopp can't bury one. Rasmussen couldn't bury one either, so they both had really good opportunities. Wings press at 7.5 minutes. Berggren has a rush chance. That's defended, and Hart holds on after that. Shots on net are 2-1 for the Wings at 8.5 minutes, but they were all around it. And then at 9:01, Lawton scores from Hayes and Allison. So that makes it 1-0 Flyers. Veleno then had a blast that was held by Hart. Flyers playing to defend the lead. Cates would score from Konechny at 13:23 on a turnover by Kubalik. We had punching to celebrate that goal as well. Just not very happy, these teams with one another. Goalie pull with 3:15 left. Perron has a shot that deflects out. There was a post for Larkin. The Wings cycle, and eventually they score. It's Raymond scoring from Kubalik and Seider at 19:17. So suddenly it's 2-1, and it's 2 games in a row where a 6-on-5 goal works. Goalie pull with 30 seconds left. Hart denies Raymond just before the buzzer. Absolutely beautiful save by Carter Hart to preserve the win. So it's a 2-1 win for Philadelphia. They go to 20-20-7. For Detroit, they're 19-18-8 with the loss. The shots in this one, 11-10 Detroit in the first, 11-7 Philly in the second, 13-4 Detroit in the third. Final shots, 31-25 for Detroit. Power plays, Philadelphia 0-for-1, Detroit 0-for-2. Hits, 27-19 for Philly. Carter Hart saves 30 out of 31. Husso saved 23 out of 25. Both goalies were really good. It was an entertaining game, and there you go. Next up, San Jose and Columbus. This game was more fun than it had any right to be. Really was. So Kakinen versus Korpisalo in this one. Early jump is for Columbus. Gregor has a rush chance. That goes wide. In fact, the shots are 2-1 for the Sharks at 5.5 minutes. The Sharks draw a power play. That was killed off. 3 shots for San Jose on that power play. Korpisalo was sharp early. He was the difference at that point in the game. Sharks press at the half, and at 10:49 they get on the board. It's Timo Meier with another goal from Gregor and Hurdle. Sharks look for another. The Jackets were stuck at 1 shot for most of that period. They ended up with a grand total of 2 in the first period. There's a press by Columbus with 3 minutes left. That's where they got their second shot. So after the first period is 1-0 San Jose. If not for Korpisalo's heroics, it could have been 3 or 4-0. Second period, Goudreau fires one high in a rush. Johnson then fired one wide as Columbus getting some pressure. Sillinger has a shot that's blocked. Corrali with a net drive, that saved. Shots are 5-1 Columbus at 5.5 minutes. But at 5:39 on their second shot, San Jose scores. It's Bonino from Sturm and Magna. And then shortly thereafter, Gadjevich has a fight with Olivier, which was a pretty good tilt. Jackets press at 9 minutes. There's a power play for Columbus, and they score. It's Johnny Gaudreau from Line A and Blankenberg at 11:19. And then Jenner puts them up at 12:31 from Johnson and Nyquist. Sharks had a 3-on-2 that fizzles. And after 2 periods, it's 2-2, and there's a lot of momentum for Columbus. But it is Columbus. It is San Jose. So who knew what we were going to get in the third period? Third period, Line A fires one wide on a rush. Nyquist has a net feed. That's blocked. There was a post for Logan Couture. And then Sturm buries a loose puck at 1:55. So San Jose with a 3-2 lead. However, that lead does not last. Line A answers from Roslovic at 3:04. The Sharks would press at 4 minutes, looking to get the lead back. There's a power play for Columbus. Crossbar for Line A. Bemstrom fires one wide. That's killed off. Goudreau fires one wide on a rush. And then it's Nyquist. He scores to put Columbus ahead from Johnson at 12:38. The shots are 13-6 for the Jackets with 5.5 minutes left. The funny thing is, at the end of the game, they showed that San Jose only had 5 shots, so they took one of their shots away, minimum. Goalie pull with 2:35 left. Eventually, Corrali hits the empty net at 18:56. Makes your final score 5-3 for Columbus. They go to 14-30-2 with the win. San Jose 14-24-9 with the loss. The shots in this one, 15-2 San Jose in the first, 12-5 Columbus in the second, 15-5 Columbus in the third. Final shots are 29-25 for Columbus. Power plays, San Jose 0-for-1, Columbus 1-for-2. The hits, 24-15 Columbus. Kakinen saves 24 out of 28. Korpisalo saves 23 out of 25. One thing I was thinking too is we're far enough into the season that I kind of wish I had tank magnets with logos of teams that we know are in the hunt for Bedard. But it's just a thought I had, and I don't have anything like that. All right, next up. Toronto in against Montreal. You know, these teams, when they play against each other, it usually is a classic. I don't know that Toronto fans would see this one as a classic, however. So it's Samsonov versus Montembeault. It takes 53 seconds, and it's the first shot. Yep. Toronto goes up. Giordano from Nylander and Matthews buries it from the slot. And it looks like this one could be ugly, because Montreal's had some ugly games lately. Power play for the Habs. It's definitely different without Cole Caulfield. That was killed off relatively easily as well. Hoffman has a tip shot kicked aside. The Leafs press at 9.5 minutes. The shots are only 3-3 with 8 minutes left. I would get kind of crazy from there, though. Nylander has a rush chance that saved the Leafs press with 3.5 minutes left, and they really peppered that Montreal net, and eventually they get one. At 17:30, it's Yarncroke from Timmins and Marner. And then with 1:17 left, the Leafs get a power play. So it's rolling over to the second period. The score's 2-0. They've got a power play. They're in Montreal. They're against a team that's just been humiliated time and time again. This should be a slam dunk. Second period. Habs finish the kill, and then they score on a rush. It's Josh Anderson from Suzuki and Pitlick at 1:46. Anderson, the benefit of the loss of Caulfield, getting onto a line there with Suzuki. And I have to say, Rem Pitlick tonight, I hope he earned himself a regular spot on the Montreal roster. I still am baffled at how much he ends up in the minors and how much he ends up getting passed around. So the shots are 5-4 for the Habs at 7.5 minutes. They would get another power play. Dvorak's denied and close. That's killed off. And then Harvey Pinard scores from Pizzetta and Belle-Isle at 13:35. So I'm pretty sure that combination has never, or Belzile. Belle-Isle. No, Belzile. That combination's never happened. Belle-Isle's really never happened. So at any rate, teams exchange Russians with 3 minutes left. Now that the score is tied somehow, Riley fires one wide. The next chance he had is held. With 1:21 left, Montreal gets a power play. So that rolls over into the third, where the Leafs finish the kill. Pressed by the Leafs at 2.5 minutes. The shots are 5-1 for Toronto 8 minutes into the period. They're getting chances. Montembeault is robbing them. Engvall has a shot held as the Leafs press. Then there was a rush chance for Engvall. That's held. Good third period by Engvall there. Habs, they take a penalty in the offensive zone. Don't want to do that. So the Leafs get the power play. That's killed off. The shots are 12-1 for the Leafs with 6 minutes left. Yeah, this was just ridiculous. Doc is denied on a rush. 3:07 left. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Then with 2:07 left, it becomes a 4-on-3 power play for the Habs. So they call a timeout. It's what you do. Nylander was denied out of the box. We end up having to go to overtime. So nothing happened on that power play. In the overtime, Leafs control early. Anderson has a rush chance that's saved. The Leafs set up. However, they turn it over. Doc is denied on a net drive. And then at 2:14, Pitlick is not. He gets the overtime winner from Hoffman and Savard. So that makes it a 3-2 overtime victory for Montreal. They go to 20-24-3 with the win. For Toronto, they're 28-11-8 with the overtime loss. The shots 15-4 for Toronto in the first, 18-8 Montreal in the second, 14-6 for Toronto in the third, and in the overtime 3-1 Montreal. Final shots are 38-31 for Toronto. Power plays, Toronto 0 for 2, Montreal 0 for 4. That's where you miss Pitlick, or not Pitlick. It's where you miss Caulfield. Pitlick on the brain. Hits 31-14 for Montreal. Samsonov saves 28 out of 31. Montembeault saves 36 out of 38. So really nice bounce back game for Montembeault. And now I need to change boards. All right, so Winnipeg coming in against the Ottawa Senators, and just as anticipated, playing like a team that's kind of ticked off about the way things have gone over the last week. So it's Hellebuck versus Forsberg in this one. Good back and forth to start. The Jets are blocking shots early. The shots on net are 2-0 for Winnipeg 4 minutes in. Jets get a power play and they score on it. It's Nick Ehlers. Scores from Morrissey and Scheifele at 6:58. The shots are 6-2 for the Jets at 8 minutes. Gambrella's a net drive that's saved, and then it's Norris. Gets the second of the season from Giroux at 11:12. The Jets get a power play. That's killed off. The Jets press. That draws them another power play. Connor fires one high. The Sens clear it out, and they do kill that off. So it's 1-1 after one. Second period. The first shot for Winnipeg isn't until the 5-minute mark. Ottawa had chances, but the first chance that Winnipeg has goes in, and it's Scheifele from Connor and Schmidt. So Scheifele continues his remarkable run. The shots are 6-1 for the Sens 6 minutes in, so Winnipeg didn't get a shot on the next shift either. Jets get a power play. That leads to a shorthanded rush by Stützle. That was defended, but it helped kill the power play off. Jets press with 8.5 minutes left. Dubois denied. Sens couldn't get a change in either. They ice it with most of them at 2.5-minute shifts, and eventually Winnipeg wears them down and stretches the lead to 3-1. It's Blake Wheeler from Ehlers and Pionk at 13:09. With 2:42 left, the Sens get a power play. The Jets do not let them set up. They do kill that off. It's 3-1 Winnipeg after 2. Third period, early power play for the Jets. That's killed off, but the shots, 6-0 for the Jets, 4.5 minutes in. The Sens get a power play. That leads to a shorthanded rush by DeMello, which finishes it, and they just allow the one shot during that power play. Jets get a power play. It becomes 1 minute and 15 seconds of 4-on-4. All's killed off there. Stützle has a rush chance that deflects wide. Things get pushy after a hold by Hellebuck. A net feed to Scheifele gets picked off, but then Scheifele gets one anyways. Scores from Janssen, Fjallby, and Wheeler at 16:07. Janssen, Fjallby's fit in really well since Winnipeg picked him up. That was a smart move. Jets do get a power play. It's a late power play. They score on it. It is Perfetti from Ehlers and Wheeler at 18:17, and that one went in off Forsberg. So he banks it in, makes the score 5-1. That's your final score. Winnipeg goes to 30-16-1 with the win. For Ottawa, 20-23-3 with the loss. Any hope for Ottawa just keeps fading every game now. So the shots, 9-8 Winnipeg in the first, 13-8 for Ottawa in the second, 13-5 Winnipeg in the third. Final shots are 30-26 for the Jets. Power plays, Winnipeg 2 for 8, Ottawa 0 for 4. The hits, 28-14 for Ottawa. Hellebuck saves 25 out of 26. Forsberg saves 25 out of 30. So yeah, pretty impressive road victory. And for Ottawa, as I said, it just keeps going the other direction. Next up, Carolina in against the New York Islanders. The Canes are rounding into form again, and tonight they did so at the expense of the Islanders. So it's Anderson versus Sorokin. Anderson's definitely rounding into form. So an early press by the Canes leads to a goal 43 seconds in. It's Stahl from Chatfield and Burns. So Chatfield continues to put up points. Insane. It was a screenshot, so no chance for Sorokin there. And then at 3:52, on a turnover that led to a 2-on-1, Fast buries it from Stahl. So Stahl with a goal and an assist. We're not even 4 minutes into the game. And this is where Lane Lambert's seen enough and he calls a timeout. Whatever he did with the timeout seemed to kind of work. Not initially, but you get there. Jarvis had a turnover chance that was saved. There's a near miss for Martinook. It's all Canes at this point. The Isles, though, they draw a power play. That was killed off by Carolina, just the one shot allowed. Canes press after it's done. There's a power play then for Carolina. That's killed off as well. And then Holmstrom finally gets that second goal from Lee at 14:02. He wires that from the slot. And then on a wraparound, Nelson scores at 15:42. So after two periods, it's a 2-2, or after one period, it's a 2-2 draw. Second period, the Islanders get a power play. An aggressive penalty kill, though, by the Canes. They do kill that off. That was the end of the power plays for the Islanders. Near miss by Parisi after. The Canes press are kept to the outside. They have some momentum. The Islanders are doing their best to block them out. There's a power play for the Canes. Things get kind of scrummy with 5:50 left as these teams, and I mean, like, it looked like a scrum. They had their arms around each other, put each other's heads down. And so anyways, the power play was killed off. There was nothing extra came out of that. Just a referee telling them to knock it off. Barzal has a net drive that's defended, and then at 16:40, Aho gets a goal from Teravainen. So that's one of those goals that's really kind of demoralizing because the Islanders were having a good period until then. 2:12 left. The Canes then get a power play. That's killed off. Coming out of the second period, it's 3-2 Carolina. Third period, Stepan was denied and close, and it was a good back and forth. And then Aho scores at 7:09. And this was his second goal in a row. The shots are 5-3 for the Canes at 9.5 minutes. The Islanders press with 7.5 minutes left. Nelson has a chance to deflect over the net. The Islanders press with 3.5 minutes left. They would pull the goaltender with 3:15 left. There's a face-off in the Islanders' end that puts him back in the net. They get him back out with 2:40 left. The Islanders, they get zone time, but they're kept to the outside for the most part. 1:22 left. The Canes ice it. Holmstrom had a shot that was held from the doorstep, and then it is an empty netter, and it's Aho. Gets his third goal in a row, so that's a natural hat trick from Teravainen at 1938. So the rare natural hat trick by Aho, and your final score is 5-2 for Carolina. They go to 29, 9, and 8 with the win. For the Islanders, 23, 20, and 5 with the loss. The shots in this one, 8-7 Islanders in the first, 10-7 Carolina in the second, 16-9 Islanders in the third. Final shots, 31-26 for the Islanders. Power plays, Carolina 0 for 3, the Islanders 0 for 2. Hits, 24-16 Islanders. Anderson saves 29 out of 31. Sorokin saves 21 out of 25. And so for the Canes, they get her done. All right. Next up, Arizona in against Dallas. This was very lopsided. Even though the shots would tell you this was close, it didn't really feel like it. Like Ottinger was just in the zone, and Ingram was good, but not where Ottinger was. So it's Ingram versus Ottinger. They were wearing the Rave jerseys. They have a good record with the Rave jerseys, I believe. Faksa, I say I believe because I don't know the exact record with the Rave jerseys, but Faksa would open the scoring from Guryanov and Hakanpää at 2:36. Good forecheck, and he buries a rebound there. Stars get a power play. Sagan couldn't bury one at the side of the net, but then Ben scores on the power play at 4:52 from Robertson and Heiskanen. And it was, to show how lopsided this was, it was over 12 minutes in before Arizona got their first shot. Now, they got 2 of them during that period, and they would get a bunch before the period was out, but it was 2-0, and it was 12 minutes in before they got a shot. And then Faksa would score from Olofsson and Lindell at 13-17, and then they just kind of let Ottinger save a bunch of shots. Boyd has a shot that's held. There's a power play for the Stars. Miller has a shot that's held, that's killed off, and then in the last minute, the Coyotes pressing, but after the first period, it's 3-0 Dallas. Second period, there was an early press by the Stars. The shots are 2-1 in their favor, 3.5 minutes in. Power play for the Coyotes, that's killed off, but there was some momentum there. The shots are 8-4 for Arizona with 9.5 minutes left. However, at 14:32, it's Wyatt Johnston burying one in front of the net. Tips it, and Heiskanen and Miller with the assists on that after what was a great forecheck by Dallas makes it 4-0. Sagan almost hits, can't hit the buzzer beater, so it's 4-0 after 2. Third period, early press by Dallas. Sagan was denied on a breakaway. The Stars draw a power play. There's a shorthanded chance for Bjugstad. That was saved. Marchment's denied. That power play's killed off. Stars, they get another power play. That was killed off as well. 3:47 left. The Coyotes get a power play. There was a shorthanded chance for Kiviranta that was saved. That's killed off. Your final score is 4-0. There's the Tony the Tiger Magnet because he was great. That's a 4-0 win for Dallas. They're 28-13-7. For the Coyotes, they're 14-27-5. This is rolling so fast in the wrong direction for Arizona, or in the right direction, depending on, how much you want Connor Bedard, or at least your best chance at it. But this is 15 losses in a row on the road by the Coyotes. They're just done. Shots in this one, 17-13 Dallas in the first, 11-10 Arizona in the second, 12-9 Dallas in the third. Told you the shots were a little misleading in this. The shots are 39-33 for Dallas. Power plays, the Coyotes 0 for 3, Dallas 1 for 4. The hits, 24-21 Arizona. Ingram saves 35 out of 39, which is decent. Ottinger saves all 33 shots for his 5th career shutout, his 4th this season. So Otter's definitely living up to that contract so far. And there you go. All right, next up. Last one on this board is one of the most surprising results of the night. And I didn't know whether I was going to wear Vegas or Chicago. I just kind of went with Vegas last moment. I kind of thought maybe Chicago, but Chicago has won some games. They're now, 6-3 in the month of January? This is insane. Tonight it was Stauber in net for Chicago against Binnington. And when I saw that, I thought, man, this could get ugly. This could really turn ugly. Like Chicago, yeah, they've had some wins, but St. Louis desperately needs to get above the playoff line. This is why they play the games, as Don Taylor says. So early jump for the Blues. The shots are 3-0 in their favor 5 minutes in. Nothing to see here yet. Blues get a power play. Thomas to Buchnevich is blocked out. Chicago does kill that off. And then on their first shot, they score. It's Dickinson from Lafferty and Seth Jones at 10:27. The Blues, they get another power play that leads to a shorthanded goal. It's Lafferty from Dickinson at 13:20. The Hawks then finish the kill, which is important when you get that shorthanded goal. 35.4 seconds left. The Hawks get a power play, so that rolls over into the second period. The Blues do finish the kill. No shots for Chicago on that power play. However, at 2 minutes, Reese Johnson gets a goal. He scores from Blackwell and Entwistle, and it's 3-0 Chicago, and you could hear a pin drop in that building in St. Louis. Blue, I didn't say Seattle, did I? I hope not. St. Louis. Blues get a power play. They score on it. So this is where you kind of expect the comeback. Because, again, Chicago, you expect them to blow the lead. Kyrou scores from Shen and Falk at 2:54. But on the 7th shot of the game, Athanasiou scores from Dickinson and Phillips at 3:59. That would end the night for Jordan Binnington. It was time for Greiss to go in the net the rest of the way. Thomas has a shot that's held on a 3-on-2. Athanasiou has a net drive that's defended. And then Barbashev scores for St. Louis from Kyrou and Thomas at 13:12. The Blues would get a power play, and the Hawks would gladly kill it. So after 2 periods, it's 4-2 in favor of the Chicago Blackhawks in a very surprising score. 3rd period, the Hawks start with a full power play for a penalty right at the buzzer. Blues don't let them set up. They kill that off. They allow 2 shots. Hawks press at 3.5 minutes. The shots are 4-0 for Chicago at 6 minutes. Remember, this is an important game for St. Louis. The fact that they're not generating shots is kind of noteworthy. They would by the end of the game, but still noteworthy, right? Tyler Johnson's denied twice. The Blues are turning it over often at this point. Then there's a press by the Blues at 9 minutes. Eventually they get one. At 9:15, it's Leddy with his first of the season from Parayko and Barbashev. So that makes it 4-3. Close game now. Blues press with 7 minutes left, and it felt like the Hawks were really hanging on, which again you expect when you look at their record. But then Domi would score on a rush. It was a nice little kind of a tic-tac-toe play. Domi finishes it from Tyler Johnson and Kane at 16:01. That makes it 5-3. Goalie pull happens with 2.5 minutes left, with 25.1 seconds left. The Hawks guilty of an icing. Doesn't matter. They hold on. They win this one 5-3 on the road. They go to 14, 26, and 4. It's like all the teams that are at the bottom of the league said, okay, we're going to win our 14th game now. We all got that right. Columbus, Chicago got the notice. And San Jose still at 14 wins. So for St. Louis, frustrating loss, 23, 21, and 3. And they watched as teams they're chasing got points tonight. Shots 11-3 St. Louis in the first, 11-8 St. Louis in the second, 10-7 St. Louis in the third. They outshot Chicago 32-18. Power plays, Chicago 0 for 2, St. Louis 1 for 4. The hits 33-17 Chicago. Stauber, good game for Stauber, 29 saves on 32 shots. His family in attendance, absolutely great story there. Binnington saves 3 out of 7. That's going to bring his save percentage down. Greiss saved 10 out of 11 in relief. So for the Blues, back to the drawing board for the next one, and now I have to go to another board for the next one. All right, so the LA Kings and the Nashville Predators. Let's discuss this one. This was a very back-and-forth game. So it's Copley versus Saros. I've been saying for a while now, because I know when I do power rankings, Kings fans are like, why are we so low? Because goaltending. I really do like it when a team has really solid goaltending. And right now with LA, it's just been shaky all over. So it's Copley versus Saros. 19 seconds in. It's a face-off win in the offensive zone, and they score. It's Granlund from Carrier and Johansson. 39 seconds into the game. Yeah. On what was their third shot of the game, Duchesne gets the second goal. Glass and Yossi with the assists. And now that puts Quick in the net. Copley's done for the night. Shots are 3 apiece at 5 minutes, and at 9:26, LA gets on the board. It's Dursey from Kopitar. And honestly, after the first 2 goals and after Quick went in, it just felt like the momentum shifted towards the Kings. Doughty makes a really great save, so it helps when Doughty's making saves as well. So he had the same number of saves tonight as Copley. Things get pushy after a hold by Quick. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. The Kings would then get a power play. That's killed off. But it's a 2-1 Nashville after 1. Second period, there's a press by Nashville at 3.5 minutes. Ref gets hurt along the boards. He got hit with the puck. They would finish this game with 1 referee. Kempe ends up scoring from Kopitar and Doughty at 6:14. It was a great pass by Doughty that helped set the whole thing up. Not that Kopitar's pass was shabby either, but that ties the game. Forsberg was then denied the next shift. Kings draw a power play. That's killed off. The shots are 9-6 LA with 8 minutes left. Kings get a power play, and they score on this one. It is Byfield on the power play from Dano and Dursey at 17:04. He buries a rebound. So, it's 3-2 LA after 2. Third period, Niederreiter takes a puck to the face and exits. That didn't look pretty. Shots are 2-0 Kings at 4 minutes. Nashville presses at 5.5 minutes. Nashville ends up getting a power play. They score on it. It's Johansson from Granlund and Yossi at 8:44. The Preds then look for the lead. There was a post for Glass, so Cody was really close to the lead. But they end up not getting the lead until Duchesne scores. He scores from Carrier and Glass, so Cody gets the assist there at 13:34. And then Nashville, with all the energy and all the momentum, they look for another. And Cole Smith, in his 49th NHL game, gets his first NHL goal. His work ethic is excellent, so I'm glad that he finally got that first goal. Yossi and Parsonen with the assists at 16:10. Goalie pull takes place with around 3 minutes left. Kopitar's denied and close. 1:35 left. There's a delay game call, 6-on-4. Oh, Coach Hines was not happy with that call. He said it's here, it's on the bench. And yeah, Fiala has a chance that's blocked. In the end, it doesn't matter. Nashville ends up holding on and winning 5-3, but they were not happy with that delay game call. With the win, Nashville goes to 22-18-6. With the loss, the Kings 25-17-6. A couple of rough losses for them to end the week. So nice comeback victory. We'll see what it does for Nashville. And of course, if you're a Blues fan, this is bad news for you as well, because it's one of those teams you're fighting with for the last playoff spot right now. Next up, Colorado. So the Avs, just a remarkable run. This felt like a playoff game. It did. And so if this is maybe a preview of what we're going to see in the conference final, it might be some tight checking and some low scoring. But remember, Makar still wasn't in the lineup for Colorado. I think any points they're getting without Makar, I think that shows how good their depth is, and they're kind of used to playing with injuries. So it's Francouz versus Grubauer. Grubauer playing against his former team, I think, fired him up a little bit. Early jump for Seattle. The Kraken get a power play. That's killed off 4 minutes into the game. The shots are 8-0 Seattle. Yeah, they didn't keep that up. Avs get a power play. That was killed off. There's a goalie interference call. It's the second power play for the Avs. Gord is denied on a break out of the box. And with 1:50 left, Seattle gets a power play. So a lot of power plays early, not so much late. Second period, shots are 3-1 for the Avs at 2 minutes. McKinnon takes a high stick. There was no call there. Avs press at 6 minutes. Taves blasts one wide. Grubauer holds. Pretty low event defensive game until at 8:18. Newhook scores its top shelf inside the post. Makes it 1-0. Seattle looks to answer, and they would. Donato would score at 9:26, and then the Kraken start trying to press for the lead. The Avs press with 7 minutes left. McKinnon can't bury one. Now, there were two feeds. There's the Root Network, and there's the Altitude. I wanted to watch the Root Network one, but it was a minute and a half behind this one. So I have to watch the live feed because it doesn't make any sense not to do so. In fact, this one I had to actually watch on my computer to watch the live feed. On TV, it was at least 2 minutes behind. This is a new thing that I don't understand why this has suddenly started happening, where the games I'm watching on TV are not live. They're 2-3 minutes delayed. Like, it's not an 8-second delay, it's a long delay. So the Avs announcers were the ones I was listening to, and oh man, there were so many times I was listening for, there's a hook, they didn't call that. Well, there's a slash. I don't know why they didn't. They should have called, man, like it becomes distracting. It really does. It really, really does. It's just something I heard listening to the Altitude feed that I was like, it's got to go on the board, because am I the only one that hears this? That, well, that they could have called that. Why didn't they call? Oh, I know, that should have been a penalty. And then every time the Avs got a penalty, I don't know how that's a penalty. Really? So, at any rate, the Kraken press with 5 minutes left. Rodriguez and O'Connor both fanned on chances, which, again, with the Altitude feed, they were apoplectic. They were beside themselves on that. So after 2 periods, it's 1-1. Third period, pressed by the Avs at 2.5 minutes. McKinnon's denied. The Kraken clear it out. Rantanen has a shot that deflects high. The shots are 2-0 for the Avs at 4 minutes. Very good defensive third period by both teams, to be honest. There's another press by the Kraken at 6 minutes, and then at the half as well. So the Kraken had their presses, but mostly to the outside, not a lot of shots on net. Seattle only had 5 shots on net in the third period. Avs get pinned down, but they keep Seattle to the outside. So as much as Seattle is getting that zone time and shift after shift, they're just not getting shots on net. Kraken, they get, So McKinnon breaks up a 3-on-2. The Kraken were a post away from the lead. Would have been the winner if that had gone in. Pressed by Seattle again with 2 minutes left, but they're not getting those shots. So we go to overtime. The Avs 8-3 in overtime. The Kraken 5-4. Those records would not change. Seattle controls early. McKinnon's denied on a rush. Little did we know that's the only shot that would hit the net in overtime. He has a break, but that was defended, so he couldn't get that one. Kraken get it. They set it up. But Vince Dunn could not hit a buzzer beater. So we're going to the shootout. Donato, it's a poke check on Donato. They were getting in too close on Francouz. And I think Donato at that time was kind of backing away from him. I don't know if that one would have counted. Rodriguez then missed the net. Eberle missed the net. And then McKinnon gets a goal. So that was, I think that's his third attempt of the year. It's his first goal. And then Sprong, same thing, poke checked. So you go in too close, Francouz will just poke check it off of you. So your final score is 2-1 in a shootout for Colorado. They go to 25-17-3. What an amazing difference a week can make. Between last week and this week, it's just insane how Colorado's gone from a team that looks like they're kind of dead in the water to, and they're a machine now. For Seattle, they're 27-14-5. I don't have to hang your heads about this one at all. Shots 13-11 Seattle in the first, 9 apiece in the second, 6-5 Colorado in the third. Colorado had the only shot of overtime. Both teams had 27 shots. Both teams went 0 for 2 on the power play, and the hits were 26-24 by Seattle. It is one of the most evenly played games I've watched all year. Francouz and Grubauer both saved 26 out of 27, and they were both very good tonight. All right, next up, Edmonton in against Vancouver. So this is an emotional situation for Vancouver, where it's likely the last night for Bruce Boudreau as the coach of the Canucks. And I thought he did well. Because again, we'll talk about it, but there's moments in this where you could tell he's still emotionally invested in the game, even though he knows it's probably his last. Skinner versus Martin, I guess maybe that'll heighten it, right? Canucks had the early jump, but on their first shot, the Oilers score. It's McDavid from Hyman at 126. That's McDavid's 40th goal already. Stillman has a shot that's held. We went over 4 minutes without a whistle. That happened twice in the first period. The Oilers get a power play, and they score on it. It's their only power play in the game, so they do score. Hyman from McDavid and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins at 8:31. The Canucks press with 7.5 minutes left. We get 2 minutes 4-on-4. Near miss for Costin as the Oilers press. The Canucks are pinned down in the final minute, and then they do manage to get it out, and to close out the period, they get some opportunities at the other end, just not enough time to get a goal. So it's 2-0 for the Oilers after one. Second period, early Kuzmenko shot saved. The Oilers press at 2 minutes. Fogle has a rush chance that's saved. The Oilers were having turnover issues at this point in the game. The shots are 4-2 for Vancouver, 7.5 minutes in, but at 9:26, going 5-hole on the rush, it's Draisaitl from Hyman and Nugent-Hopkins. So that makes it 3-0. Kane has a shot that's saved as the Oilers are pressing for more. OEL got stuck on the ice for over 2.5 minutes. He had a long shift in the third period too. But Kuzmenko, on a nice play, it's on a rush. It was a nice tic-tac-toe passing play. Pedersen and Hughes with the assist at 16:46. And there was the Bruce, there it is chant. It was going a lot tonight. A lot of Bruce, there it is chants. Canucks press for more, but it's 3-1 after 2 periods for Edmonton. Third period, McDavid's denied twice and close. Things get pushy after a save by Skinner. Shen was denied. We get more pushing, and then Miller. JT Miller gets a goal from Hughes and Garland at 3:26. And I will agree with the crew on Hockey Night in Canada. You've got Miller signed to a 7-year deal once this whole mess has become a little less messy, once the coaching change has taken place. You sit down and figure out how to get Miller going and how to straighten this out. He had 99 points last year. Even if he can't get back to that kind of production, he can be better than he has been this year. So 7 straight shots by the Canucks as they're trying to fight their way back into it. But Ryan has a rush chance that's saved. The Canucks get a power play. Pedersen has a shot that's blocked. He still doesn't have a power play goal this year. They cycle it. Besser has a shot that's held, and that power play is killed off. Canucks go back to the power play. That was killed off as well. The Oilers score, and here's how I could tell Boudreau's still emotionally invested. And it's late in the game. That would have made it 4-2 and basically ended it. He still challenges for goalie interference. It was close. That was close. Initially at full speed, I'm like, nah, that ain't goalie interference. They actually said, yep, and they took it off the board. Hyman was not happy. Zone time by the Oilers delays the pulling of the goaltender until there's 1:15 left. With 1:09 left, the Canucks call a timeout. But at 19:25, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is having a career year. Scores into the empty net from Hyman and makes the score 4-2, and that would be your final. For the Oilers now, they're 27-18-3. They're on a fantastic run. Vancouver 18-25-3. They're in a fantastic run in the other direction. So again, if anybody can explain to me the change coach. Anyways, so the shots in this one, 10 apiece in the first, 9-7 Edmonton in the second, 12-10 Vancouver in the third. Final shots were 29-29. Power plays, Edmonton 1-for-1, Vancouver 0-for-2. So special teams cost Vancouver another game. Hits 22-16 for Vancouver. Skinner saves 27 out of 29. Spencer Martin saved 25 out of 28. So there's two things that I think for Vancouver has cost them this year, and it is the penalty kill, which is the worst in the league, and it just seems to keep getting worse. They need more saves. I mean, it sounds so simple, right? But they need more saves. All right, last game of the night, we're going to talk about Vegas and Washington. Washington without Ovechkin. And the first thing I thought of, and you guys can let me know if I'm the only one that thought of this, is, so the All-Star game's coming up. If he can't go, that's a one-game suspension. What if he misses a game before that, though? So anyways, just throwing that out there. Just one of those things I think about, because I don't think he cares to go to the All-Star game. I always thought it was weird, too. Like, well, if you don't go to the All-Star game, you get suspended. Cool, I get extra time off. Awesome. So, it's Kemper versus Thompson, and on the first shot, Vegas gets a goal. It's Martinez from Stevenson and Pietrangelo at 2:17. The shots are 3-2 Vegas at 6.5 minutes. At 7:36, Roy buries one 2-on-1 from Marchessault and Martinez. So Martinez with a goal and an assist early. Then there's a power play for Vegas. That becomes 1 minute and 21 seconds of 4-on-4. Milano has a shot that's kicked aside. Marchessault with a shot that's held. Everything gets killed off there. Strome has a net feed that's picked off. Things get pushy after a hold by Kemper. 1:17 left. The Caps get a power play. Vegas doesn't let them set up. And of course, without Ovechkin, that power play is completely different. Second period, Vegas finishes the kill. No shots. That's the big difference. Smith has a shot tipped aside, and then Amadio. It's a face-off win, and it's a goal. Stevenson with the assist at 2:15, and Vegas is really controlling the game. The shots on net are 4-1 Vegas at 5.5 minutes. Ron Bjerg's denied. The Caps clear it out. Pressed by Vegas at the half, and eventually Fraze scores. He scores from Ron Bjerg and Pietrangelo at 12:04. That is the first point of the season for Ron Bjerg. The funny thing is they had mentioned on the previous play that Ron Bjerg, when he was denied, he doesn't have a point yet. So there's the point. So there's a post. Kemper skating in on that goal. And so that means that Kemper's night is done. Bring in Charlie Sideburns. Charlie Lindgren's in. And on his first shot, it's a goal. Cotter. He scores from Roy at 13:38. We then had 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Strome's denied. Best chance for the Capitals of the night to that point. There was a press by Vegas, but then it's Washington gets a goal. It's Oshie from Gustafsson and Strome at 18:20. So after the second period, it's 5-1 Vegas. Second period, Caps press at 3 minutes, but at 3:59, Cotter scores from Roy and Colasar. The Caps draw a power play. That was killed off. The crossbar for Aube-Kubel away from getting them closer, but then Johansson tips one in to get them closer from Van Riemsdyk and Kuznetsov at 10:41. McNabb took a puck to the hand late as well. That looked like that was a painful. Hopefully he's okay. But your final score is 6-2 for Vegas. They go to 29-16-2. The Capitals 25-18-6. Rough week for them. Shots on net 10-6 Vegas in the first, 11-8 Vegas in the second, 8-6 Washington in the third. Final shots 27-22 for Vegas. Power plays 0-3 for Washington, 0-1 for Vegas. Hits 40-28 Washington. Kemper saved 14 out of 18. Lindgren saved 7 out of 9. And Thompson, good night for him, good night for Vegas. They needed this win, and they're back in first place with that shootout loss by Seattle. 20 saves on 22 shots for Thompson. So, ticked all the boxes, and LA lost as well. So, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.